Masters, I said no!
Ah, come on, kid. I need you for this.
Did I stutter? Masters, it's going to take a lot more than that to convince. So, what was it again that you wanted me to do?
The Giver is a work of science fiction that has gained a lot of praise in the last 18 years. In fact, it was praised so highly that most teachers are forcing students to read it in their classes. Well, that's what happened to me and Awesomefan here.
Now, before we go into the story, let me explain the world to you. The world of the Giver is set in the distant future where everything's the same and everyone follows a constant and consistent routine. It's the same old thing every single day. Same houses, same schools, same clothes, same everything. Now, you may be thinking, how do these people live their lives doing the same old thing every single day? Wouldn't that be boring? Well, it wouldn't be boring if they didn't know what boring was. In this world, there is no such thing as strong feelings. Sure, there are small feelings that are temporary and can easily be driven away, but not deep feelings like love or pure rage. There aren't even any colors! Sounds like a pretty bleak place, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. All the people are happy. They're living their best lives with the people the community elders assign to them, doing the jobs assigned to them, and even raising the children assigned to them. So what's so bad about this place? Well, this is a world without memory. And when I say memory, I mean like distant memory, specifically experiences you retain that gives you feelings. No one remembers what it's like to feel pain or suffering or even death. In fact, death has become meaningless in this world. Only one person is allowed to retain all these memories, and that's the receiver. After a certain period of time, a new receiver has to be selected so that the old one can transfer all those memories. So why bother keeping those memories? It's to help the community elders decide what to do if there's something they've never seen before. That way they can come to the receiver for help and he'll advise them on what to do.
Well, how do they keep the peace? Some people are sure to crack under all those rules.
Ah, yes. See, here's how they do it. They teach you the rules at a very young age and discipline you into retaining said rules in your mind. It's so strict that you could get reprimanded for using the wrong words. However, this doesn't always work. And if adults are caught breaking the rules 3 times, they are released like the old people who have lived full lives or babies who aren't fit to be part of the community.
Okay, but how do they handle raising children to prepare for adulthood?
Well, they are taught in school throughout their childhood, and when they turn 8, they can start volunteer hours at various occupations so that the community elders can learn which job would be the best fit for them. When they turn 12, that's when they get their jobs assigned to them. Then they can start training to continue doing that job for the rest of their lives.
Ah, how fascinating.
Am I done here?
Absolutely. You've been a big help. You've earned your reward.
Yay!
The story is told from the third-person perspective of Jonas, a 12 who has been selected to become the next receiver. When he gets selected, he meets with the receiver daily to undergo vigorous training in receiving the memories of the world. The previous receiver, now called the Giver, starts by giving Jonas happy memories, but soon starts to give Jonas memories of pain and suffering. Through this process, Jonas begins to feel a lot deeper compared to the other citizens of the community. He begins to care, and it saddens him that he can't share the feeling of joy with his friends or family. However, he does discover that he can share memories with someone else. Gabriel is the baby that Jonas's dad has decided to take home. The reason is that Gabriel has not been sleeping well at the nurturing facility, and since that is a defect in the community, Gabriel will be scheduled for release if nothing is done. So Jonas's dad takes him home to see if he can help make sure Gabriel is healthy and well enough to be a citizen of the community. However, progress isn't going that smoothly, so Jonas tries sharing his memories with Gabriel and finds he can. This actually calms Gabriel. However, Jonas is not allowed to share any details of his training, so Jonas's family actually believe Gabriel is starting to do better on his own. After many more weeks of vigorous training, the Giver reveals to Jonas that the previous receiver-to-be from 10 years prior was his daughter Rosemary. She wanted all of the memories too quickly, but in that process, it made her feel like life wasn't worth living, so she applied to be released. After she was released, all the memories she had obtained were spread throughout the community. The people felt what she felt, and it caused chaos. You guys are probably wondering what release is. Of course, some of you might already know. You're pretty smart. Well, Jonas was wondering the same thing. So, the Giver pulls up a video of a release. This specific release was done by Jonas's dad. What happened was that there were identical twins, and the law is that only the twin that weighs more is allowed to continue to be nurtured and prepared to be raised in the community, while the one that weighs less is released. Or killed. Jonas watched his father kill a small baby right in front of him. Now here's the thing. Death is meaningless in this world. No one understands the consequences and pains that death can cause. The people doing the releasing don't even know what they're doing is wrong. It's really horrible to think about. The Giver and Jonas want to release memories into the community, but the only way to do that is for Jonas to leave the community. The Giver can't leave because all of his memories going out into the world would cause so much chaos that it would lead to destruction. So, the Giver plans to help Jonas escape to elsewhere, where there might be people who share memories and live their daily lives as such. However, plans change when Jonas finds out that Gabriel is to be released the following morning. Jonas sneaks out at night with Gabriel and begins his journey toward elsewhere. The rest of the book details how Jonas and Gabriel would avoid the aircraft looking for them and how far they travel. The book ends with Jonas and Gabriel, weak and exhausted to the point of death. Jonas finds a sled like in the first memory the Giver had given him, and he sleds down the snowy hill to find a house with lights, and he could hear people singing. That's where the book ends. Open-ended. Did they die? Was this an illusion? There are actually 3 sequels to The Giver. I would have reviewed the whole thing for Series September, but I felt it best to just read the first one. While I'm sure the sequels are amazing, I think I'd rather read them for fun. Alright, this analysis is going to be deep, so buckle up. One very important theme that I found while reading this book for the 3rd time is the theme of choice. Everyone in the community follows a specific routine and set of rules daily with not really any choice. The logic of the community is that if anyone has the freedom to choose, they will choose wrong. The community is structured the way it is to prevent fear and wrong choices and sorrow. But see, therein lies the problem. If you take away fear and pain, you learn nothing. You don't grow, you don't mature, you're just stuck where you are. You don't feel joy. The reason why people go through pain and suffering to begin with is so that they grow and feel joy at the end. Personally, I think I'd go crazy living in that community. I'd hate not being able to choose what I wanted to do. Even little things like what I want to wear or where I want to go. I wouldn't be able to do those. Plus, I don't think I could live in a world without colors or music or love. The word love had also become meaningless in that community as no one could feel that depth. Another theme is memories and how they're meant to be shared. Memories last forever. We always remember experiences that we've gone through, whether they be joyous or horrifying. And the way we retain these memories is through sharing them with others. Many teachers have always said that if you teach what you learn to someone else, you'll have an easier time retaining what you've studied. The same can be said for basic small memories, like the time your dad reads you stories in funny voices, or the time your mom taught you how to cook, or any other memory like that. It's not only important for us to retain memories of the past, but to also make new ones. New ones that we can remember down the line. One thing that people like to share with others the most is their happiness. That's actually the reason why I started YouTube. I wanted to share something that made me happy during an uncertain time. I wanted to make people laugh. I wanted to share stories that I really liked, and hoped that you would like them too. Honestly, if memories weren't shared, I don't know what would become of us. Overall, The Giver is a very eye-opening experience into a world void of everything that makes us human. The Giver was my first real experience with quality science fiction. Now, I had read fantastical novels that were labeled as science fiction, but they didn't have the same effect as The Time Machine or The Giver had on me. It made me think. And that's why so many teachers are making students read this. Well, yes, it's not always fun when someone shoves a book in your face and says, "Read this." But there's always a reason for it. In this case, teachers give this to students to help them think about the world they live in and how awful it would be if we lived in a community void of feeling to the point where death and love are meaningless. I'd recommend this book for ages 14 and up. And while you may not understand the message at first, take some time to think about it. Who knows? It just might save your life when you have to finish that paper. And remember, while there are pains in the world, there is also joy. And I understand many of you might be going through a hard time right now. Understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there are people who care about you. Happiness will come your way. I know it will. That was The Giver. I know this review got a little heavy, but that's what the book does. And I know I didn't go over the movie because I didn't feel the need to. The movie still carried that same message. While I did it in a different way, the message was still there. That's really all that matters. And I understand that some of you might be reading this for school, or have read it for school. For those of you reading it currently, keep reading it and ponder on it when you finish. For those who have read it a second time and ponder. Who knows? You might find something new that you didn't realize was there before. Well, I should probably go before I start tearing up. Happy reading!